Hey guys, Cdrama Invasion here and welcome back to my channel. So today we're talking about the dramas I watched this month, and I'll do a mini recap on dramas that I dropped, but I did do a first impressions in detail, so I won't go too much into the ones I already talked about here. But let's talk about dramas I dropped or put on hold. First off is Be My Princess. This one I'm not sure if I'll drop or I'll keep it on hold for a while right now, just because there's so many other dramas right now that are keeping my interest. This one, I started it with the intention that it's a fun rom-com, you don't have to think too much about it, and even though I know there's plot holes and stuff, it's not perfect. I did enjoy the first 9 episodes or so, but it's gotten to a point where I don't have the motivation to go back to it, especially if they're just reusing the same tropes and just the same gag of him being her bodyguard and all, and then she's freaking out, feels kind of weird about it, but then also kind of falls in love with him. So right now, that storyline, I'm not enjoying it as much as I want to. And I think I'm more in the mood to pick up some more mysteries. So you'll probably see that next month or whenever I finish those dramas. So for now, I'm just going to wait until I see everyone's reactions after this one finishes airing. If it's worth picking up and continuing to watch, then I'll watch it later on. Next is Great Miss D. I dropped this one. I talked about it recently in The Oath of Love. First impressions, that video. Long story short, I really wanted to like this since I'm in the mood for mystery, but unfortunately I found it quite boring. Okay, now to dramas that I fully completed. The first one is Under the Skin. I think out of all the dramas I watched this month, this might be the best one. And it's probably the best Chinese drama I've watched so far, at least for this year. It's refreshing, interesting, and very well acted. So my story with this is, as usual, I usually go in blind without reading the summaries online. I think that this one, it works the best that way, so I won't try to give too much away. But all you need to know, if you haven't watched the show and you're interested in it, is that it's about this art professor who ends up helping the police with a series of crime. And he helps them by kind of drawing the portraits of the culprits or people who are involved in the case. This one, of course, has loads of art themes and psychology in it. And as someone who dabbled a lot in art and both psychology in my previous studies, I knew that this show was right up my alley, and I was either ready to tear it apart or just really enjoy it. And I'm so happy that it's the other reaction that I really enjoyed this. Of course, I feel like every single cop show, there's going to be some cases that aren't as strong as others. I found that the first half was way more stronger than the later half, just because I thought it was more creative. I think that these cases aren't that unique on their own, but with the intricate use of art and how they figured out things, it was just so cool to see, especially the visuals. And there's this room that he's in sometimes that's just full of portraits, his art, sketching. It looks absolutely incredible. And props to the art director of this, or the producers behind the scenes. The portraits actually made a lot of buzz online. I think Chinese netizens and Weibo users were praising them for how accurate it is of real portrait drawing. These are artworks made by real people, which just shows how impressive it is. I really hope in the future we get more art and things like this displayed in dramas. I think the only thing that kind of bothered me is that the lead was really carrying the entire cop team, and it made me even question what the heck the entire police force were doing before this guy showed up, because honestly, there were so many moments where they really couldn't figure it out. Even when they had the proper technology or whatever, they would call him and then instantly he would just figure out everything. Yes, I believe that geniuses like this do exist, but I thought that it did undermine the chief captain as well as the other members of the police team. He was just written to be too flawless, too good, that you're just thinking to yourself, everyone else is kind of just there. They're just kind of incompetent. And I know it's a teamwork and you do see them do this and that, but of course, we're following the male lead. And I get it, it's a drama. There are some very little moments, but when you think of Under the Skin, you're literally going to think of Tan Zhensi and not really the other characters. There's some really effective and unsettling scenes. There's one scene with like a pig mask that was just so damn creepy. I think that the team behind this really put in the work, and props to iQIYI for making this. My final thoughts were that some logic was reaching, I guess, might be too convenient or unbelievable, but overall, from a creativity and entertainment value, 100% worth the watch. I would give this either an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10. The next drama I watched was one that was older, but I missed out. So after Under the Skin, I was just really craving mysteries, and I've been reading a lot of thriller books lately. And also The King of Pigs, a phenomenal K-drama right now, is going on. So I am just living for this type of content. So I naturally went and looked through the popular dramas that I haven't watched in the iQIYI Light On series, which is actually The Long Night and The Bad Kids. So I did finish The Long Night. And honestly, I didn't love it as much as everyone else loved it, even though I do understand how iconic it is. And I do have to like frame that this drama happened during a time when there's not that many dramas, and after the Light On original series came out, only I think now you see this type of mystery crime genre with very small episodes, like 12 episodes, really start to pop off. So props for those original dramas, The Long Night, The Bad Kids, etc., making it really popular. Of course, there were probably some other great crime shows before 2020, but it didn't shape and change the entertainment world, at least in China, as much as those ones do. So that aside, let's talk about The Long Night. It has 12 episodes. It stars Liao Fan and Bai Yu. It starts off with this guy who has a suitcase. He's running around and everyone's freaking out. They're like, what's in this suitcase? And he says there's a bomb in it. But the truth was he was just freaking out, and during their investigation with him in episode 1, you see more and more of the truth is unveiled, and he says that basically you guys have 24 days, let's play a game, and if the cops play it right, then the entire truth will come out. My thoughts were that the first 3 to 4 episodes were very strong, especially the first episode. Instantly, I was pulled into the mystery with this guy carrying around a suitcase, super intense. I also found the added time game 24-day limit was interesting and such a good way to make you anxious and anticipate the ending. They do go back and forth between timelines later on, and they show you Bai Yu's character, which is in the past. I do have to commend the amount of work, transitions, cinematography, and editing behind this. It's quite insane. I usually don't notice these things that much when I'm watching dramas unless something really stands out. But there were multiple times where I was just commenting on how great these transitions were. For example, I think there was this part where there's a character in the present day. They're sitting behind this steaming place. I think somebody's cooking behind her, and then it transitions with the steam. It rises up, and then you see how the steam is coming out of the coffee that Bai Yu's character is drinking in the past, and I just thought that's really cool, and this is just one of the instances. Even so, after episode 7, the pacing started to really slow down. On one hand, I think it works with the script. I understand where they're coming from. They really want to develop and give backstories to build up all these things so that the final episode, you'll see what will happen to all these characters that you learn, and it'll be satisfying, right? But for me, personal enjoyment wise, of course I love Bai Yu. I do like a good mystery, but because I'm just so used to a lot of Western detective shows, I basically grew up watching K-dramas, the best of the best, Signal, Tunnel, a lot of just amazing crime detective shows, OCN. I'm so used to this type of thing that even though it's new for China, it's not new for fans of the genre, if you know what I'm talking about. Therefore, at least for me, it didn't bring too much new things that really impressed me or anything, but overall, everything was great except for my personal enjoyment. I feel like if I were newer to this genre, by all means, I would recommend this drama. But if you've already seen a bunch of dramas in this genre, mystery, crime, it's very, for me, predictable. And aside from the beautiful cinematography, etc., I just find it more exciting to watch a bit more fast-paced, intense crime shows. So I ended up giving this a 7 out of 10. Next drama I finally completed is Royal Feast, and I did talk about the good and bad about this before, so I'm not going to go too much into it again. The first half, I was enjoying the slow paced process. I was liking how they were interacting like very little and minimal, but then this was a huge problem later on when they did speed up. I think around episode like 25 or something, or 27, they started picking up the pace and so much was happening at once, and then they went back and forth between the pacing. As I said before, this is very focused on the side characters, the scheming, and all of the food court people, the harem, etc. And because I'm watching this in between so many other dramas, I really did not care at all. And I found myself like watching this on 2.5 speed sometimes, or just skimming through a chunk of the episodes. With this type of dramas, you have to care about the side characters. For me, I didn't, which is why I couldn't enjoy this drama fully, because like 70% of the drama was based off of other people, not the main characters. And also, it was lacking romance. I know at first I said this was fine because it's realistic, that someone who works at the food bureau who has such a low status would not be hanging out with like the royals as much. I even found the like last episodes and things that would happen to the villains just very standard. Like you kind of figure out who the villain is, they kind of show you and give you hints earlier on when the things happen. You're just like, oh, that's it. And it was kind of funny because I was scrolling through the comments section of the sites that I were watching the last episodes on, and everyone really had the same sentiment. They were just like, that's it? That's all we got after sitting through all of these episodes? So I would say, unfortunately, skip it. Even if you like them, you should just like skim through the episodes if you really want, or just watch the clips online. Super draggy, but the one good thing that I'll always stick with is this OST is so catchy, and it's probably not going to leave my brain anytime soon. Unfortunately, I still give this a 6 out of 10. 5 out of 10 it would be for dramas that I would rate, that I would say that the first half was good, so that was that. This one I gave it 6 out of 10 because I also enjoyed the production, the costumes, the food, but it got really repetitive and draggy. Next drama is Not Me, and I just want to start off to say that this drama is probably maybe the best BL drama I've ever watched, or it's like really up there in the top 5. This drama is about two twins, black and white, and yeah, it's a little bit on the nose with the names, but this writing is just absolutely incredible. If you're into dramas that has deeper issues and just very complex characters, I think this one you can definitely pick apart every single person, do a whole ass essay analysis on them. Anyways, it follows White, and he is like someone that's from a wealthy family. He has a twin brother named Black, and they do play up this psychic, almost like twin thing where basically if one person is going through something, the other person will have a sixth sense about it. And it's always been happening in their lives. So one day he gets a sense that something horrible is happening to his twin brother. So he goes back to Thailand and he finds his brother is in a coma, he's beaten, and he decides that he really wants to protect his brother and find out what the heck's going on. So Black is involved in a secret vigilante gang. And this is my favorite part. It's because that they don't dismiss these typical, I would say, lowlives or delinquents or thugs as that. They're more of an activist group. And this is both a very eye-opening coming-of-age story as well as a activist social awareness drama. Every single thing in here is intentional. There's loads of themes of art, social issues. They talk about LGBTQ rights, as well as how the wealthy is really oppressing and exploiting the poor. This script and drama itself is just next level. I don't ever see this amount of detail talking about social issues. It's also super quotable. Everything is just great. And you see White's character, who is someone from a privileged background, just learn about his brother and realize that there isn't just black or white. There's a gray area where people are kind of in the between and they have to do things because the justice system fails them. The script is so fast-paced. Every single part has me hooked from the beginning to the end. I had minor issues and I might make a full video on this. My biggest complaint for this is just that I feel like there wasn't enough episodes to flesh out some scenes, but overall I had a blast with this one. Super deep messages, beautiful, beautiful cinematography, writing. So impressed with this, and even if you don't like BL, I would say give this a go. The BL elements doesn't happen until like halfway through, like episode 8. Everything else is just this build-up, giving you character, mystery, action, everything you need and want from a drama. I always praise actors that does the twins thing so well, because even if they're standing wearing the same exact clothing with like micro eye expressions, you can tell who they are and the different characters. I think that's just super impressive. This drama is just absolutely insane with everything they were able to accomplish in a matter of episodes. Social issues, poverty, corruption, romance, friendship, family, and liberation. A beautiful drama through and through, 10 out of 10, which actually marks, I think, the first 10 out of 10 I've ever given out in 2022, and I've been getting more and more picky. So there's dramas that come really close, 9, 9.5, but 10 out of 10s are dramas that go over the top and like have something a little bit deeper. Absolutely love this drama. Please check it out. Give it like 2 to 3 episodes. Give it a try. It's on YouTube with English subtitles. And also, this is coming from a person who absolutely hated the same leads that did like Theory of Love, I think, which was another BL I watched and absolutely hated. So the fact that they can also be in a drama that I absolutely loved and wholeheartedly root for just shows how versatile and great these actors are. And sometimes it really is the script that is holding back the actors. And that wraps it up for dramas that I've been recently watching in March. Look out for new videos coming out in April. I have a couple weeks off and I have a huge video prepared for hitting that 20K subscriber mark. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the links in the description box below if you want to support my Ko-fi page. Names, titles, everything you need is in the description box below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.